Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Success Academy. I'm Shashank Dias, and in this video, we are going to look at some essential tips that you need to know before going for the IELTS reading test. We're going to look at the perfect study plan of how you can prepare for the IELTS reading test as well. Alright guys, so when it comes to the IELTS test, you know that you have listening, reading, writing and speaking. Most people find reading to be the difficult subject of the exam, the difficult phase or the stage of the IELTS exam. Now the reason that people find reading difficult is twofold. One, their English comprehension is low. That means that they don't understand what they're reading. Therefore, they are unable to find the answers. Number two, even if they are good in English, even if your English language skills are good, your comprehension is good, you have bad time management. These are the two things that most people would face or would find difficult at the IELTS exam. Okay, so in today's video, what I essentially hope to look at is what are the best techniques, what are the best methods that you can use to get the highest band score at the IELTS exam. And I'm also going to talk about a few ways that you can practice, improve your comprehension and just be ready for the IELTS exam. Okay, the IELTS reading test. Now, although these tips are only for the reading test, by doing these exercises or by doing these activities that we are going to talk about, it's not just going to help you for your reading, okay? It's going to help you for all other aspects of the exam as well, whether it's writing or speaking or listening. These things that we are going to discuss are going to help you out. So make sure to watch till the end because there's so much value that I hope to give you through this video. Okay, so make sure to stay till the end. Just note these things down, write it down and implement it, okay? The problem that a lot of people have is that they watch these videos, they don't implement what I talk about in the videos. Just try it and see, okay? Sometimes everything I say might not work for everybody, but still try it because without trying it, you're not going to find out if it works for you or not, okay? Let's get into the video. Now, when it comes to the reading test, you know that there are two tests. You have the academic test and you have the general test, okay? There are differences in the academic and general, but the key competencies of what you need to do and what you need to achieve remain the same. So when you take the academic test, you have 3 sections and 3 paragraphs, okay? 3 very lengthy paragraphs, about 800 words each, which means in total you have about 2,400 all the way up to about 2,500, 2,600 words at best, okay? It might even be less, might be about 2,300 words. So, give or take between 2,300 and 2,500 would be the word count of the passages you have to read. When it comes to the general test, again, you have 3 sections, but you don't just have 3 paragraphs. You might have 2 paragraphs in section 1, 2 paragraphs in section 2 and then 1 lengthy paragraph in section 3. That is usually how the general test is divided, okay? But the number of questions are the same regardless of whether you're doing the academic or the general. It's just 40 questions that you have to answer in 60 minutes. This is so important, the 40 questions in 60 minutes. Most people that sit for the exam, they run out of time, okay? Even if their English is good, they still can't answer all 40 questions in the given time period. And there are some fundamental mistakes that people make in this regard, okay? So, first of all, in order to get to the highest possible band score, you need to get the highest possible mark out of 40. That means you need to get more than 30, more than 35 plus questions correct in order to go for an 8.5 level band score, okay? Anything, you need to get above 30 to go for 7 and above, basically, all right? So it's very important that you try to get as many questions correct as early on as possible, okay? That means in the first 10, 20 questions, you can't have any mistakes. Okay, the first 20 questions, you can't have any mistakes. You have to try and get 20 out of 20 for the first 20 questions. That means in the next 20 questions, the pressure for you is just to get 10 marks correct. That means you have a 50-50 chance. Okay, that means every 2 questions you do, you just need to get 1 correct. But if more than 2 questions are wrong in the first 20 questions, that means you're in a bit of a tight spot. Okay, we'll get to the techniques in just a bit, but let me outline again what the reading test looks like in terms of academic and general. Okay, so academic, like I said, 3 sections, 3 paragraphs. General, like I said, is 3 sections, but about 5 paragraphs. Each one, regardless of whether you're doing general or academic, has about 2,400, 2,500 words, right? So you just need to be prepared to read a lot, understand it, and then answer the questions. Okay, when it comes to the main 3 techniques that you have to be good at when you're going to do the IELTS reading test, there are 3 skills. What are they? Skimming, scanning, and focused reading. Okay, there are a lot of techniques that you can use to find the answers at the exam. But in my experience, and with what I have taught hundreds of students, this skimming, scanning, and focused reading method has been very effective. I don't even have to get students to come to my class and practice it with them. I just teach this online. Students watch my YouTube videos and then they have ended up getting 7.58 band scores. Okay, I don't even know these students. They have just come for my webinars. They have just come and watched my YouTube channel, and they just send me messages saying, hey sir, I just watched your videos. Spectacular. I just got a band 7.5. Okay, just following these techniques. So I personally have not had a problem, and most of my students up to date have never complained about this system. Okay, skimming, scanning, and focused reading. Guys, believe me, this is the best possible way to score marks at your IELTS reading test. Now, what is skimming? Now, when you take the academic or even the general test, how can you read 2,500 to 2,600 words and then answer questions from that in less than 60 minutes? That is a near impossibility. Okay, so skimming allows you to get a surface level understanding of what you are reading. Okay, you can't get an in-depth idea. That would be impossible. All right, even for a native English speaker, reading that much, understanding it, and then having to answer questions from it would be quite impossible. Okay, however, you can get a surface level understanding about what is being said. When I mean a surface level understanding, it means that you have a very basic idea, if I were to say this in Sinhala, udin pallen kiyavala adahasak ganna puluwan. That means you have a very basic level understanding of what you are reading. There are 2 ways to skim. Okay, there are 2 ways to skim. The first way is more suitable for people who already have a good English speaking skill. Now you might be thinking, oh, if you can speak English, this should be a walk in the park. No, not really. Even if your English skills are good, you still need to practice and you need to know how to manage your time. Okay, you also need to understand how to read faster so that you can really understand what is being said or what is being written down. Okay, so in order to achieve that, the first way, right, again, this is for people who have a decent level of English, is to improve your speed reading and comprehension skills. How do you do that? Well, I'm just going to give you one very easy technique that you can follow. You might think, oh, this is so stupid, this is so simple. But trust me, this will improve your reading skills dramatically. Okay, you use a cursor. Okay, so if you're doing the online test, you have your mouse and you have the cursor. If you're doing the paper-based test, you have your finger. Okay, what do? You take a book. All right, you take your paper like this. And as you're reading, you just go and keep moving your finger and follow where your finger is going. All right. Now, if you practice this well enough, you might not be able to get an in-depth understanding, but you will get a very basic surface level understanding of what is being said, and you'll be able to do it very fast. Okay. See, for example, now it says here, he turned a mild, surprised gaze on her. But my lady, I told you to inquire into the death of Mrs. McGinty. Mrs. Rendell said sharply, I know that's what you say, but it's ridiculous. Now, of course, I'm reading this loud, so it takes more time. But if I were to read this without reading it out loud, I'll be able to read this whole page in less than a few seconds. Okay? Once you get used to following your finger, right, following the cursor, this improves your focus. Okay, because most of the time when we look at the reading paragraph, our mind just goes haywire, our mind just goes blank. Okay, where do I read? What do I figure out? I have no idea, right? By keeping your finger, you're giving yourself a specific start point. Now, you know the phrase, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Now, if you don't take that first step, you're just going to be looking up thinking, how am I going to climb up 1,000 stairs? Okay, it's the same thing with reading. When you look at 2,500 words, you're going to look at it and think, man, I've never read in my entire life. How am I going to read 2,500 words in less than an hour and then answer questions? Don't stress about it. Just start and then keep going. Okay, if your English level is good, you should be able to read this entire paragraph in less than 2 minutes. Okay, even if you can't read the full thing, at least try to read 3/4 of it. Okay, the rest you can just figure it out. But at least 3/4 of it in 2 minutes. That's your timing. Okay, you don't have more than 2 minutes to skim. Very, very important, because if you take more than 2 minutes, that means you're going to run out of time. So 2 minutes, done and dusted, finish skimming. Okay, the second way, and this is for people who struggle with the language. Okay, of course, you might be good at the language, but also you might not understand what you're reading, even with the cursor method. Okay, if that is you, and if you are struggling with the language a little bit, the next way or the next method that you can use to skim is just to underline or highlight the fixed keywords. Okay, so you might be wondering, okay, what are fixed keywords? Now, there are two types of keywords. Fixed keywords are words that don't change. Okay, let's take for example a name. Okay, I take the name Brad Pitt. Now, the name Brad Pitt cannot change. If they say Brad Fernando somewhere else, that's a completely different person. It's like a half Sri Lankan, half burger, half Dutch, weird mix, right? Brad Fernando. Right? But Brad Pitt is American. Okay, you know that Brad Pitt is Brad Pitt, but if that Brad Pitt becomes Brad Fernando, that's changed. That will never happen. If you take the name England, that's the name of a place, and if you say India somewhere else, it's completely two different countries. So England will always be England. Brad Pitt will always be Brad Pitt. Therefore, names do not change. There are 5 types rather of fixed keywords. Proper nouns, that means names of people, places, things, distinct names. Okay, if I say for example the Apple MacBook M1 Air, right? That's very specific. Now if I just say, okay, just buy me a MacBook. Now you might have the MacBook Pro, you might have the MacBook M1, M2, M3. It's not distinct. So MacBook would not be a fixed keyword, but the MacBook M1 Air is very specific. Do you understand what I mean? So if you have proper nouns, distinct names of people, places, those are fixed keywords. Second, you have dates and times. I'm going to count this as two different things, right? Dates and times. When I say dates, I mean the days of the week, months of the year, actual dates, 3rd of September, 4th of July, whatever. And times, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30. These things do not change because they are distinctly different from each other. Okay, so names, proper nouns, dates, numbers. Okay, any number, 10 kilograms, 50 meters, 100,000 years. Whatever the number is, the numbers do not change because numbers are distinctly different from each other. I hope that makes sense. Okay, So dates, times, names of people, numbers, these things do not change. And finally, you have scientific terms. Now, scientific terms might fall under the category of proper nouns, but I'm just giving it as a separate thing in and of its own so that you don't get confused. Any scientific name, if it is there in the paragraph, would not change when they're asking the question. Okay? These are the things that you can highlight or underline when you are skimming. Will this give you a clear understanding of the paragraph? Probably not, right? But when you go to the second phase, which is scanning, the easiest words to scan are the fixed keywords. Therefore, during your skimming phase, if you have already highlighted these, it's going to be very easy for you to find the answers or find the location of the answers. So these are the two ways to skim. The first one is to use a cursor and follow it. The second one is to just highlight the fixed keywords. Remember, both of these, whatever the method you're using, have to be tested out by you, figured out what is easy for you, and then you have to do it in under 2 minutes. That is mandatory. Okay? If you're taking more than 2 minutes, that means you are just wasting time. Alright? So those are your two methods to skim. Alright, next we have scanning. Now, what is scanning? Scanning is the second process where you read the questions. You identify the fixed and flexible keywords in the question. You come and look for that in the paragraph. Now you already know what fixed keywords are. So what are flexible keywords? Basically, important words. See, these are not just random words, okay? These are words that are important in the question, but they might have synonyms. They might have similar words, right? For example, a book might be termed as reading material. Okay? A book might be reading material. If you say happy, for example, happy might mean ecstatic, overjoyed, right? Any of these words can be used, right? So the point is, flexible keywords are changeable. They have synonyms. However, these words are crucial to finding out where your answers are located. So first, you try to scan for the fixed keywords. Then you try to find the flexible keywords around it. Now you have a clear idea of where your answer is. Okay, you have a clear idea of where your answer is. You have this little section. Okay, this is in paragraph 2. The first 3 lines, I have my answer. Then you come to focused reading. Guys, this is the part where a lot of people make their mistake. Skimming, they'll do. It's easy. You just locate the fixed keywords. Scanning, again, people will do because you just have to find the words that you find in the question, you have to find in the paragraph. Again, very easy. Focused reading. Now, this is the section where a lot of people make mistakes. Why? They don't understand what they are reading. So they'll read it and then they'll come to a completely different conclusion than the correct meaning of that sentence. That is why most of your answers will end up being wrong. Okay? So focused reading is just your ability to slow down. You have already identified the part where the answer is. Just read that section word for word. Take your time, understand it properly, and then write the correct answer. How do you improve your focused reading skills? It's just a matter of improving your English vocabulary, reading again and again and again, reading and summarizing. I will talk about this in a bit. By reading and summarizing, you really improve your focused reading skills. Okay, but basically, focused reading is your ability to read something and clearly understand what you are reading. Okay, so that is essentially skimming, scanning, and focused reading. So that is essentially what you're doing. That is the easiest way to find answers at the IELTS reading test. Okay. Alright, so skimming, scanning, focus reading. Guys, I told you before, this is the best possible way. This is the method that you have to try out. There are other ways. You can search YouTube, you can search the internet. There are many other ways in which you can find the answers. But I'm telling you right now, many people who have come to me have tried this without my guidance, okay? Without my guidance. And what I mean by that is I haven't personally coached them. Now, the people I have personally coached, obviously they find it easy because I have been with them, I've done this with them, they find it easy. But I'm talking about people who I haven't even coached, okay? Who have just watched my videos, tried this out and found out that, this is working. This is actually quite easy, all right? So this is the best possible way. This is the best possible method that you can use to find answers, find the correct answers at the IELTS reading test. Okay, so you have to try this out. If you have tried it out, just let me know, okay, if this works or if it doesn't, because up to date, I've never had anyone tell me it does not work. Okay, so please, if it does not work for you, let us know so we can even revise this method, find out better methods. Okay, but try it. It works. All right. The next thing that you have to do when it comes to the reading test is time management. Okay. So what I told you just now, skimming, scanning and focused reading, this will fix your problem of understanding what you're reading and then being able to find the correct answers. Okay. The second thing or the second stage of this video is how to manage your time. Okay. How to manage your time effectively. Now, if you follow the method that I stated previously, managing your time is not going to be that hard. So, are there specific time management techniques? Yes, there are. Okay. One of the biggest time management techniques that you can use is allocating a specific amount of time for a certain section and then not taking a single minute more for that section. For example, I told you skimming should only take 2 minutes. Now, if you are taking more than 2 minutes for skimming, you need to work on improving your skimming ability. And you can't take more than 2 minutes to skim. So even at the exam, even if you haven't skimmed the whole paragraph, if you only skimmed half or 3/4, that's okay. Just stop, okay? And then move on to answering the questions. How long do you have for each paragraph? The first paragraph you can take 15 minutes, okay, 15 minutes. Stop after that and move on. The second one you have 20 minutes. Stop after that and move on. The third one you have 25 minutes. Why? Because each paragraph gets distinctly harder. All right, each paragraph gets distinctly harder. Therefore, if you are focusing your efforts on, let's say, paragraph number 1 and you're taking 25 minutes for that, your time management is off the window. There's no time management there. Okay, so 15, 20, 25. Your 2 minutes are included in that timing. Okay, so out of that 15, 2 minutes are for skimming, 13 minutes are for scanning and focused reading. Out of the 20 minutes, it's the same thing. 25 minutes is the same thing. Okay, so this needs to be a very diligent process and you need to stick to that timing. That's the best way to manage your time. So as you're practicing, you get yourself used to, so you don't even have to look at a clock by the time the exam rolls around. Just mentally, okay, 15 minutes are done, let me move on to paragraph 2. All right, 20 minutes are done, let me move on to paragraph 3. That needs to be the level of practice that you have had. Okay. The second thing when it comes to time management is to improve your speed reading skills. So before the exam, let's say 2 months, 3 months before the exam, really work on your speed reading skills. Practice reading with a cursor. Practice understanding what you're reading. The faster you are able to read, the faster you are able to complete the test. Therefore, your time will automatically be managed. Okay. These are the 2 best ways that you can manage your time and improve your ability to complete the test in less than an hour. Okay, so 60 minutes, 40 questions. It's honestly not that hard if you do the right amount of work. Okay, if you put in the right amount of effort, it is not that difficult. Okay, next I move on to how can you prepare? What are some of the things that you can do? What is the plan that you need to have when preparing for the reading test? Okay, all right, so I would suggest that you take at least 3 months ahead of the exam to prepare for the test. I say 3 months because even an average person, even if you are an average English speaker, to get to a band 6.5 score, 3 months is enough. Now, if you are a decent English speaker, 3 months is more than enough to get to a 7.5 band score. If you are a good English speaker, you speak English on a day-to-day basis, 3 months is more than enough to get to a band 8 plus score. Okay? Some people, the people who are able to pass the exam in a week are not the people watching this video. Okay? My friends, for example, who went to Australia, Canada, who, studied in English medium, they, speak English on a day-to-day basis. Some of them can't even speak Sinhala. They didn't need 3 months, right? That's the reality, So the people who don't need to work for 3 months are not the people watching this video. If you are watching this video, it means you need some guidance, okay? You need some help. And I'm there to provide that to you. And I'm telling you that if you are facing the IELTS test and you want to pass in one go, now if you want to do it 2-3 times, that's a different story. Okay, don't waste your money. All right, don't waste your money. You're spending about 200,000 plus if you do it 3 times. Okay, just why? You need to pass in one go. Okay, you can pass in one go. I'm going to help you pass in one go. And I'm telling you, study for 3 months, practice for 3 months. I guarantee you can get to the score you want to get to, regardless of the level you are. Okay? Now, if you are in a really bad stage, okay, you don't even understand English, then don't do the IELTS test. First go to a spoken English class, learn your English, and then come back 3 months before and start practicing. But 3 months is mandatory. Alright, like if you are doing the test, I really would suggest that you start practicing 3 months out. What do? Now I'm going to speak specifically about the reading test. Okay, we'll cover other videos, we'll cover the other sections later. When it comes to the reading test, and when you're starting out your practices, don't worry about the time. Okay, I know you have to finish in 1 hour, but when you start practicing, don't worry about the time. Take maybe 2 hours and complete the paper and try to get as many answers correct. That should be your technique. 2 hours should be an ideal time. Just read everything. Read the questions. Try to find the answers. Just improve your ability to understand what you are reading. You build up your comprehension for the first entire month. For the first month, just don't look at the time. Switch off the clock, switch off your phone. Don't worry about the time. Just focus on getting your answers right. That's it. That is it. Once you start getting 30 plus scores, okay? 30 plus scores in the first month, in 2 hours, now start cutting down on the time. Month 2 should be focused on slowly reducing the time while maintaining or even improving your marks. Clear? Month 2. So month 1, what is it about? Getting as many answers correct. Doesn't matter about the timing. Number 2, maintain the answers you got right and improve it while slowly cutting down the time. Month 3, the last month, 1 month before the exam, you cannot go more than 1 hour, and you have to try and maintain or improve the amount of marks that you are getting. Clear? Guys, this way is so effective, so effective. You need to practice one paper every 2 days in month 1. In month 2, you need to start practicing at least a section a day. Okay, because what I want you to do is reiterate and reinforce these strategies every single day. So even if it's not one paper a day, at least one section a day. Month 3, one paper a day is non-negotiable. Guys, I guarantee, you can try this method, and if you fail, if you don't get to the score you want to get, you can message me personally. I'll give you my classes for free. Okay? This method will not fail you. This method will not fail you. If you study one paper a day every other day in month 1, one section a day every day in month 2, and one paper a day every day in month 3, there is no way that you're going to get anything less than band 7.5. Nothing less than that. Okay, only higher, 8.5 and above. You're not going to get less than that. Why? You have had so much practice. You have had so much effort put in. God is not going to let you fail. Right? You have to pay attention and do it though. It's not just doing the paper every day. It's about doing the paper, understanding your mistakes, working on those mistakes in the next paper. Then understanding the mistakes in that, working on that the next time. That's why you have a 1-day gap in between the first month. Okay, you're really refining your skill. You're really refining your ability to get as many answers correct as possible. I hope that makes sense. Okay. The next method is to read and summarize. Guys, when you have some free time, just find something to read. Okay, I read all the time. Okay, it can be even a novel like this, or if you are someone religious. I mean, these are things I have on my desk. All right, this is not something that I just bought for the video. You have the Bible. You can read the Bible. It's the Quran if you're Muslim. If you're Buddhist, you can of course read the Tripitaka or the stories of Lord Buddha. That's perfectly fine. Guys, these are just things that I have on my table. All right. How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a book on public speaking. Now, when you read a book like this, or this for that matter, if you read a book like this, just read the first 3 pages. Okay, the first 3 pages. Outline the key takeaways, the key lessons that you learned from this book. If you read a book like this, which is a novel, just read the first 3 pages, summarize what you wrote. Okay, by doing this, you are able to improve your ability to understand something really well. Because if you can read something and you can write it in your own words, it means you have clearly understood what you read. This will be such a massive help for you at the IELTS reading test. Okay, there is no chance that you can get to a low score by practicing these methods. Okay, now these are the 2 methods that I mainly outlined on how to practice, right? I said start 3 months out, and I broke down how you need to practice in those 3 months. Read and summarize. These are the 2 best methods that you can use to improve your IELTS reading score. Trust me on this, guys. If you follow these techniques, there is no way that you can go to a lower band score. You will always get to the highest band score possible. Okay, so like I said, if you are someone that's struggling with the English language, like you don't completely understand it, maybe these methods might not work for you. So go to a spoken English class first, improve your English, come back to do the IELTS. But if you are mediocre in your English, 3 months is more than enough. Follow the strategies I said. You can easily go for band 6.57 score, right? Obviously, the longer you practice, let's say you practice for 6 months, 9 months, your score will go higher than that. If you are an okay average speaker, you can go to a 7.5 score quite easily if you practice this way. If your English is good, you converse on a day-to-day basis. It's just that you're not too familiar with the language. You're okay. All right, you can communicate. You can easily go for 8.5 without stress at all. Okay. The reason I'm not highlighting more than 2 methods, and there are much more than this that you can do to improve your reading skills, is that I don't want to make the video too long. It's already past 30 minutes, I think. But what I really want you to do is not just watch this video. Okay, watching this video only, it's just not going to benefit anybody. Watching this video and implementing what I teach is what you should aim to do. Okay, don't just watch it for the sake of watching it and then just not take action on it. Really implement what I talk about, and trust me guys, you will see a massive improvement in your marks. If you see this improvement, make sure to comment down below. If this was valuable to you, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because every subscriber matters. It really helps us to reach more people. Okay, that's what it helps us do. And share this with a friend, because I'm sure you have friends who are doing IELTS and they will find this video valuable. If you want to work with me in our group setting for our group classes, you can always call us on this number. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can also get in touch with this number. We'll set that up for you. Guys, trust me, I'm going to remind you again, if you practice what I'm talking about, there is no way that you are going to not pass in your first attempt, that you are not going to get the score you want in your first attempt. All right? So put this into practice, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, comment down below and show us some love. Till our next video, keep practicing.